you would have understood the process using which we can create a bundled product. In that process, I'm sure you might also be having a few questions. Questions like, in the quote line editor, when the user selects the product, which in our case is going to be MacBook Pro, what is making sure that these subproducts are always displayed in this order? Meaning, you might repeat this process n number of times. Every time you will see the products in the very same order. They will not be rendering in juggled fashion. So, what is making sure that these subproducts are always rendered in this fashion? That's the first question. The second question is, why should the user select these checkboxes manually? Is there a way I can default these checkboxes to true so that the moment this page renders, the checkboxes will be by default checked? That's the second question. Likewise, you might be thinking, is there a way I can mandate a specific subproduct in this bundled product? Meaning, when user selects this bundled product, I want to make it a mandate that user selects this particular subproduct. Without checking this subproduct, I don't want the user to go to the next step. I want to make sure, or I want to put a restriction that the end user should select this subproduct in the bundled product. I want to emphasize that. Likewise, is there a way I can default the quantity? Meaning, as of now, the quantity is 1, but I always want the quantity to be defaulted to 5 or 15 or 20. Is there a way I can do that? Let us look at answers to all these questions. The first question is, which entity is controlling the order of these subproducts? The answer is, go to the bundled product, which is going to be this in our case, navigate to related tab, and then options related list. You'll find a column which is number, and if you notice it, we have given the value in increasing order. I have given it as 1, 5, 15, 20, 25. The moment you select the bundled product in the quote line editor, Salesforce is going to query all the available option records. It is going to sort the field number in ascending order, and these values will be rendered here in that fashion. You might repeat this step n number of times. Every time it is going to give the subproducts in the very same order. You might have a follow-up question, which is, okay, Krishna, but why are you trying to give this in this fashion? 1, 5, 15, 20. Why can't you just give this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That is because in future, Apple might decide that they want to add another component as a part of this particular bundled product. Let us think of that as a sensor. So Apple wants to include sensor as a part of this bundled product, and they want this sensor to be displayed between these two products. They don't want the sensor to be added somewhere at the bottom. They want the product sensor to be displayed between these two entries. If I give this as sequential numbers, then what happens? I need to create a new entry with number as 2, value being sensors, and subsequently I need to modify all the other products, and I need to pump up the number by 1 because this becomes the first subproduct, and then sensor becomes the second subproduct. This becomes the third subproduct, fourth subproduct. I need to go to each and every subproduct, and I need to update the number column. Rather, if I give it in this fashion, in case Apple decides to make any minor change here and there, I can add a new option record, and I will give the number as 3. That way what happens is the sensor will be rendered right after Apple M3 Max chip. The next question is there a way I can default all these checkboxes to true? The answer is yes. You need to go to the option record. You'll have a checkbox there which says selected. I'm going to select it. For unified memory also, I'm going to select the selected checkbox. Go back to the quote line editor. Cancel it. Cancel it once again. I'm going to refresh this. And then add products. This becomes MacBook. And this time, to your surprise, you'll notice that these two line items or subproducts are by default selected. So if the question is there a way I can default these checkboxes to true? The answer is yes. How do you do it? You have to work with the option records. Now, is there a way I can mandate one or multiple subproducts for the bundled product? The answer is yes. Let's work with this particular subproduct. Click on edit. I'm going to check the checkbox which says required. Click on save. Search for MacBook and then select. There you go. This particular subproduct is mandated and you cannot even remove this. And the next one is, can we default this quantity to any other number? Again, I got to work with option records. This time I'm going to say quantity is 5. Click on save. Click on cancel. Search for MacBook. There you go. You'll see the quantity as 5. Now it's not going to make sense to have quantity as 5 for the display, but I think you get the point. Likewise, when I try to change the quantity of this, it is locked. You can see this particular lock icon and I cannot modify this. Can I override this behavior? Of course, yes. Go back to the option record. Check this checkbox which says quantity editable. Since we are here, let me also walk you through these two fields, minimum quantity, maximum quantity. I can specify the minimum as 5, the maximum as 10. Let's see what happens. Click on save. Go back here, cancel. Cancel once again. Add product. Search for MacBook. Select. And then what I'm going to do is I'll check this checkbox. If I don't check the checkbox, you'll still see the lock icon here. So click on the checkbox. This becomes editable. I can give the value as 7, or I can also give this as 8, but make sure it is less than 10. That is because on the option record we have given the minimum as 5 and maximum quantity as 10. Let's see what happens when I give this as 15. And then I'll try to click on save. It throws an error. The toast message says you exceeded the maximum allowed quantity, which is 10. So please go ahead and modify it once again. So this is how I can configure the subproducts in the bundled product. All I need to do is I need to work with the option records on the bundled product. That's all for this episode. See you in the next one.